This is Curtis coming at you from Ace Per Head Studios doing more football talk. This time, we're going to do a roundup of 4 different teams. We got the Jaguars, the Bengals, the Patriots, and the Giants. Going to go over the big stories that have been capturing their teams this week in preseason. Going to start off with the Jags. A lot of hope. First overall pick, getting Trevor Lawrence, Urban Meyer coming in. Media was high on him. Things kind of turned south when Urban Meyer decided to sign Tebow. Whatever you think about that, they weren't happy. And it seems like there was a big pile on this week. Now, the first part of this story, Travis Etienne was injured on a third play, got his Linz Frank injury. Now, that's not the media's creation, and it is kind of serious. He was a 25th overall pick. His season, unfortunately, is done. And I had done a lot of research on the Linz Frank injury for Mekhi Becton. I wanted to see if he was going to be able to be available this season. And I found out there's all kind of like super texts now, super ways to take care of this thing. Because it was a terrible injury, for a long time. It was like, you're finished. They had like cryo, they put cold on it, all this stuff to avoid surgery on most cases. Unfortunately, Etienne had a severe tear, was immediately diagnosed with surgery. So his season's over. It could be a little bit of a lingerer for a year or more. So it's not career threatening, I don't think, but it's a nagging and serious injury. It's a shame because I'd done a lot of studying on him for the draft. I liked Harris and I liked Williams better, but this kid had some serious speed and looked like he could do something. And Meyer had him stretched out across the field from receiver to running back. They were figuring to get production from him all across the field, and he's not going to be there. So the media was like on that one. And it's fair. It sucks. It's waste of a 25th pick, waste of a young kid's career for this year. But let's prayerfully he gets back next season. But then they started jumping on Trevor Lawrence saying, well, we're not seeing superstar status from him after 2 weeks of preseason. And, maybe he's a bust and maybe this and that. At some point, some of these shows were saying, well, we got to put a little weight on this until we see he gets talent around him before we can label him a bust. I mean, it's been a whole 2 weeks of preseason. But what got to me is when they got to Urban Meyer, they're like, oh, he can't coach men. He can't coach millionaires. He can't be a coach. Maybe he can't coach the modern player, and maybe his offense is no good. And they never use the same excuse to give a caveat to Lawrence on Meyer. And that's the way the big media runs things. I don't like it. I think it's foolish. I've been doing this stuff for a while, and there's so many good stories out there. I don't know why they have to go after low-hanging fruit. The reality is the Jaguars got the number 1 pick because they were a bad team. They lacked talent. They had issues. Do you think they're going to be rectified by 1 draft and 2 weeks of preseason? Now, maybe Urban Meyer and Trevor Lawrence won't pan out, but let's give it more than 2 weeks. So Jaguar fans, don't buy into the media. It's a terrible thing for Etienne. But as far as Lawrence goes, I saw enough to know that this kid's going to be at least pretty good. And give Meyer some time. Give it a draft or 2. Give it 2 or 3 seasons. You'll know a little bit more, but it's only been 2 weeks. So Jaguar fans, keep your head up, stay positive. Now on to the Patriots. Patriots moved Sony Michel to the Rams. Cam Akers from the Rams, running back who had paired with Darnell Henderson, good tandem. He went down for the season, and the Rams are all in. They've got everything pushed forward to win now. So getting Sony Michel is a win for them. They had to give up a 5th and a 6th. A round pick that could turn into a 4th if they get a 4th round compensatory pick for John Johnson, who was a safety who went to the Browns. He was a free agent loss. So the Patriots look like they're going to get a 4th round pick, most likely, for Sony Michel, who in all likelihood, he was he was extra and he was a good player to have, but you had 6 running backs, and even though he was not the most talented, but one of the more talented, he was in the final year of his contract. It was better to move him. Getting a 4th round pick is a good deal, especially considering you got Ramondre Stevens so late and he's looking so good. I mean, James White, he's Mr. Flash, shows up here and there and has his big plays. J.J. Taylor, who's a young guy who's going to soak up some carries, and then Damian Harris, who really just has some special to him. It's going to be interesting to see if he can handle a heavier load, but he looks real good. And then you got Brandon Bolden, who I liked on the Dolphins. Special teams guy, veteran. You don't want to get rid of him. And then Ramondre Stevens, who's got that Jerome Bettis type thing of a big guy who's nifty. And I really, not as a Finn fan, but as a Patriots fan, really like the direction, like this kid's direction. Because I think from what I've seen, there's just something very intriguing about him. And he has a full skill set as a running back, being 6'2", 46. So I think he's going to soak up a lot of carries. So moving Sony Michel was a smart move, good move. And if I had to weigh it out, I do think the Patriots got the edge in this deal. But the Rams needed it, so they got a good back who's in contract here. And then, the Patriots also had the Cam Newton COVID test misunderstanding. And then the media jumped on that saying, oh, well, now Belichick and the Patriots are done with them. They've had enough. And this all but assures that Mac's going to start. And honestly, I don't know. Are they done with Newton? I don't know. Is Mac going to start? I don't know. But what I do know, this little situation is an advantage for Belichick, who has Brian Flores, an excellent defense, coming in week 1. And now Flores is really going to have to consider, and he probably was going to split the defensive preparation up anyway, but now I think it's going straight 50-50 because you got Newton who's one style of ball, and then you got Jones as another style. It's going to add a little extra preparation time and gives a little edge to the Patriots. Now, as far as Mac truly starting and Cam being the backup, I don't think so. I still think Newton's going to start. And this is why I think. I want to hear from you Patriots fans. I could be wrong, but this is my take. When you watch, like for me, when I see Cam Newton behind center and standing there, he's like a giant. The guy's like a Greek god. Former MVP, Super Bowl. I think he was on cover of Madden. This guy was a true impact player and figure, and he has an aura about him. Just think about these players when they see him walk through the locker room. He's charismatic. He's intelligent. I don't think that Mac Jones is best suited by starting week 1. He's the future. It's clear. When that future is, when the best time to start that future, though, that's not clear. He had a good practice against the Giants, went 35 or 40. He had 2 good preseason games. I'm a big fan of him. It's pretty clear he's going to be a good quarterback. I really think he's shown so much. I think he's improved to be a steal at 15. But just imagine the locker room as Mac goes into real games and the tape catches up with him and he hits that long stretch, having Cam Newton in the background. I don't think it's the best case scenario for starting his future. For me, you put Cam Newton in, let him ride. If he gets injured or if he doesn't succeed and has problems, if you bring Mac in, the media will be less likely to try to start the controversy. The players themselves will say, hey, we gave him a shot or he's injured, and you could bring Mac Jones. And even if you had to bring Mac Jones out after an injury, it's not as bad as if you bring Mac in and he has struggles. And guys, he looks good, but he's gonna have struggles. And I wouldn't want the Greek god, super charismatic Superman behind me looking over my shoulder. I just don't think it's best. So my opinion is it's best that Cam starts, both for the Patriots and for Mac's future. Cam, let him ride. If he does well this season, it's going to be Mac's team next year. If he doesn't do well, you can pull him out and you can put Jones in. If he gets injured, you can put Jones in, but I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be very interesting to see week 1. Belichick's going to keep, I don't know. He's going to keep it in the air. And it's going to make it a little tougher on my Dolphins. Then there's the Bengals, who much like the Jags, long time of kind of being down in the dumps, real serious positivity for getting the number 1 overall pick and a quality quarterback. Everyone was saying this is good, and he is. Big Joe Burrow fan. Did a video on him and went through the metrics, did a study on him, and was just really impressed. And vicariously, through being a fan of Joe Burrow now, I'm a fan of the Bengals, and I want to see them succeed. It's a shame that Joseph Asai, who's a third-round DN edge player, who had 5 pressures and a sack on Brady in week 1, tore his meniscus. Now, there's a good news is that really wasn't with Etienne, that of the knee damage you can get, this is the best case scenario. He'll be healthy long before the season starts. You can play on a torn meniscus sometimes. So it's not like an ACL, MCL, or structural damage. So it's good news for a side that, yes, his season's over now, but the future isn't compromised. So it's the good news, bad news for the Bengals. And then the media, I guess they need their stories. They're on Jamar Chase. He's had some dropsies. There's rumors coming out he's struggling against press coverage. And is he a bust? Is he going to make it? Is this the end of his career after 2 weeks? And for me, it's funny with, again, the media. I don't know why they chase low-hanging fruit. If they want the story to go this way, they'll say, he's a young receiver. Receivers notoriously difficult. And if they don't, they need something to talk about this week, all of a sudden they forget that thing and it's the end of the world. The kid didn't play last year because of COVID. So he went from his couch to gym and training for pro day to the NFL level. He's going to have struggles. It is a notoriously difficult position. He took a year off. Give the kid more than 2 preseason games. Now, on a side note, to be rational, to be historically accurate, I did a video. I'm very critical of all my videos. I'm German. It's always like, what's wrong? But I actually did a really good video I was very, very happy with. And it was about how difficult, historically speaking, it is to get a receiver, to hit on a receiver pick in the NFL draft, specifically in the first round, even more specifically in the top 10. I went to 10 or 12 years, and the numbers were mind-blowing. I was so excited about it. No one really watched it. So if you get a chance, check it out. It's on my list of videos. If not, just go back and look at the draft over the years, and you'll see it's unbelievable how many first-round draft picks and top 10 receiver draft picks don't make it. Statistically speaking, you got Kyle Pitts to Atlanta, Waddle with 2 draft picks they spent on him, and then you got Chase with the Bengals. Statistically speaking, 1, if not 2 of these receivers won't meet expectations. And expectations, when you're taking this high, is to be a Hall of Fame player or to be on the verge of a Hall of Fame. So all 3 could make it. But statistically speaking, that would be an anomaly. All right, so Joe Burrow showed me so much. The way he carried so much responsibility, the way he handled so much abuse and still excelled. I was concerned with the way they were going to handle him. Was it, were they going to rush him in? When he first came in, it was like it's 7 months. It's a 9-month recovery. And they kept him out of the first 2 preseason games. And then, the news is now they're going to bring him in lately for this game. And it's good to see him. It's going to be must-watch TV. I'm going to definitely do a film study on it. But it even leaves me more excited that they might not actually start him week 1. And that might be for the best. Joe Burrow is the future. And I feel like the Bengals are treating his recovery with kid gloves. And you have to. This kid's special. And so whatever else is going on, as long as Joe Burrow is healthy and taken care of, the future is bright for the Bengals. So this is very good news. Very good news. Very good news for Bengals fans and football fans because this kid has a chance to be truly special. Then there's the Giants. Kyle Rudolph, who's always an intriguing player to me on the Vikings, 6'6", 265. But I remember being like 275, 280. He was just a really big lunch pail, physical kind of guy who still was able to be a receiving threat. I think it was 2016, he had 800 yards receiving and 7 touchdowns. And then in 2017, he had 8 touchdowns. And he had played 93 straight games without missing a game. Now, the Giants signed him last year, even though his foot was hurt, and he missed most of preseason, was activated this week, and it's a big, big deal. This guy is a big piece of the puzzle for the success of Joe Judge, Saquon Barkley, who's returning, and Daniel Jones, who needs to have an impact here. So this is very good news for Giants fans. And then, like I said, Saquon Barkley's returning. I was a little concerned. I'm a big running back fan. I just don't feel like the same level of talent that was there when I was growing up is at the position anymore. But Saquon had that special sauce, special juice that reminded me of Peterson. I was really excited to see him play. I was excited to see him grow. And an injury really was just a downer, not just for Giants fans, but fans of the running back position. So hopefully he's back and healthy and there's no long-term damage. Hopefully he can go back to 100%. And Rudolph, again, is going to play a big part. And the two of them together are going to help Daniel Jones. And another story for the Giants is the Daniel Jones story. Joe Judge has decided, a very avant-garde move, not to play Jones in the preseason. His first live action will be week 1. Now, he saw him all last year. He's got tape on him as a starter from the year before, and he's seen him in practice. So Joe Judge understands the player. I think it's weird. I don't know if it's going to be successful. It could be a brilliant forward-thinking idea, and many other teams could adopt this if it's successful. I would like to have seen him get live action, but hey, Joe Judge, I like him as a coach. Let's see if this pans out. This could be something interesting. It's a 17-game season, so maybe this is being smarter than the average bear. But it's definitely a big boy move, and he will be held accountable for the pro and the con. It's going to be very interesting to see how that goes. And then the last story. It's not a football story, but it is a football story, but it's bigger than all these stories combined. It's about Tom Coughlin and his wife of 54 years, Judy, and the terrible, terrible situation that she's in and the Coughlin family's in. She's got a thing called progressive supranuclear palsy, which is just an awful, it's one of the list of awful diseases. And I didn't know anything about her really, and I didn't know anything about the disease, but it became a story this week, and some people were talking about it, and Tom wrote an editorial and really exposed what's going on, and it really showed him to be the guy I always knew he was. Tough guy, but a real good guy. I mean, he was like all the coaches I had growing up. He wasn't there to be your friend. He was tough-nosed, but it was hard love to get you to go in the right direction and succeed. Liked them with the Jags' his first run. I really liked them with the Giants. I thought, getting Barber to go carry a high and tight, I thought that was a big win. And I was just a real big feather in his cap. I mean, obviously stopping the Patriots twice was for being a Dolphins fan and a perfect season. So Tom Coughlin's got a big place in my heart. Thought the media was rough on him. Thought the players were rough on him. Was really excited to see him do well. The Jaguars was unhappy to see it not happen. But all that is nothing compared to what's going on with his wife, Judy, who, when you read the story, she was always out there defending him, trying to show his good side. And the media tried to paint him as this hard guy. Judy was always there to show this is a good guy. And he is, and he's in a tough spot. I've been married 15 years, and you argue with your wife and all this stuff. But when you stay together and you build something together, it forms a special bond. I can't imagine all these two have gone together for 54 years. And Tom Coughlin and Judy to be in a situation with the family, it's just a terrible, terrible situation. So I want to send my prayers out to that family. Us at Ace Per Head, we want to send our prayers out. And I pray and hope that everyone listening, they send their good prayers and hope and whatever to the Coughlin family, because it's a terrible, terrible situation. So I just wanted to focus on that. And that's how I want to end it. This really puts football in context. It's a game. This is life. And life always supersedes the game. So this is Curtis saying thank you for staying to the end. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Comments mean the most. I like to hear from you different fans of different teams. Helps me get to know the team better and to do this better and to get a better understanding. The guys say here, analytics love the comments and subscribing, so please do that as well. And a shout out to Ace Per Head, who is the best sponsor anybody could want. They want to let you know that this is the perfect time to get in on the action with their world-class software. And they are their tops. One of the owners contacted me. He's like, I can't believe all these positive comments going on with your team, going on with your videos. And he's such a positive guy. And he was getting all positive about the positivity. And that's just the way they are. They're a great company. And I love to support them. And they're fantastic. So this is Curtis saying, thank you for staying to the end. Catch you next time.